Steve Famigletti, Blind Services Coordinator at New England Assistive Technologies, an Oak Hill Center, will be interviewing 5 clients of BESB on the impact of mentoring in their lives. Steve offers a unique perspective as the project interviewer. He has walked the same path as those with whom he will be speaking. Steve has been legally blind his whole life due to premature birth. Our second video in the Mentor series is with Ann West, a longtime client of BESB. Ann has been blind since childhood. She has glaucoma.
I'm Steve Famigletti, and I'm sitting here with Ann West, who is the owner and operator of All Braille. Hi, Ann. How are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm well, thank you.
That's good. So, can you tell us how you actually got involved in starting your business, and what is the business All Braille?
Well, there were 2 things that got me started. A friend came to my home to show me a product that he had invented, somebody local here in Southington. And he came to my home to show me this product. And he gave me a business card. And he said to me, "You can't read that business card now, can you?" I said, "No, I cannot. But I can ask my husband John to read it to me." And he said, "Well, I really should have some business cards in Braille." So my brain started to work. And I thought, well, let's play with it. Also at the same time, there was a voicemail system in California called eVoice. One of the young ladies who had a mailbox on the system put together a list of every blind person in the world who had a mailbox on this eVoice system, including me.
Wow.
But she was looking for someone to put this directory, as she called it, into Braille. I said, I can do that. So I did it. At the time, I was job hunting, and I was not having a lot of success with interviews. I thought, maybe I could be a Braille transcriber. And that's when I went to the town hall. I purchased my business name. My husband created a website for me, and off it went. And that's how it started.
Wow. For you personally, with your vision, are you able to see anything, shadows, light, or dark, or would you say that you really, for all intents and purposes, are totally blind?
I could see it one time, but I have glaucoma, and because of the glaucoma, I lost all my vision. I am now totally blind, and I have been for many years.
When you were sighted, were you someone who could ever read and write in print, or were you always predominantly a Braille reader-writer?
No, I could not read large print. I could not write it. So I've always been a Braille reader since I was in kindergarten. That's where I started to learn Braille.
Wow. And then you had the Perkins Brailler, which is like kind of like an old typewriter.
I still use it to this day, and I use it quite frequently.
Right.
One thing about me, in some ways I like the older technology because I find that it's easier to use than the I know that sounds weird, but I do like some of the older technology, and I still use a lot of it today.
So, can you tell us a little bit about some of the businesses that have hired you to transcribe Braille documents?
I got a call one day, and this voice on the other end says, "My name is Bradford Hill." Yes, sir. How may I help you? "Well, I'm the owner of all the concessions at the Statue of Liberty, and we need our menus in Braille. Every year he sends me the update of the menu, and I do the menus for the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, and it is a real honor for me to do it." The other one that kind of threw me was one day I answered the phone, and this voice on the other end says to me, "Oh, hi, Ann. My name is Susan Feliciano." She told me she needed some Braille business cards. And we're talking, and she said, well, they're for my husband, Jose.
Oh, wow.
I went, okay, the singer Jose? And she said, yes. Well, I said, well, I'm honored, Susan. I said, I really feel honored that you asked me to put Braille on his business cards. I've been doing his about maybe once every year, too. I've done work for Central Connecticut State University. I've done work for a dental clinic in New Haven. I do some local, but I find that a lot of my projects come from out of state.
What would you say are some challenges that you face? You work for yourself, so that kind of has to have its own set of challenges that people who work in an office and they work for someone else, they have their own challenges. But for you, what do you feel are some of your challenges?
The biggest challenge I have right now is the fact that I don't always have someone sighted to help me format documents. I'm a widow and my late husband was sighted, and he used to help me a lot with formatting the documents. Somebody would send me a menu and it's loaded with columns.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Braille, columns are a nightmare because a Braille page is not wide enough to hold all those columns.
Right.
So John used to take those documents and fix them so that they were Braille friendly.
Right.
I don't have that. I lost that 2 years ago.
Right.
So that is one of my biggest challenge is formatting a document so that I can take that document and make it really Braille friendly. Also, a lot of restaurants I've noticed have sent me menus as an image. Now I have yet to figure out how to make text out of a picture. It cannot be done.
Right.
And I've had people actually get mad at me because it couldn't be done.
But do you have trouble working for yourself? Instead of, like, say you were working for the company All Braille, but you weren't the owner, you were going into an office and you were doing work, where it's your own company, so how does that, do you think that comes with its own set of challenges?
Oh yeah, sure it does. I have to make sure that I always have enough money to pay the bills.
Right.
And of course and every company has it, when I get periods of time when business is slow, I have to figure, what am I going to do? And then I have to what I do is I contact people I've done work for in the past and ask them if they need anything. And
so in doing the Braille business that you're doing, was there somebody that mentored you or inspired you to do this business, or did it just kind of happen the way you told us earlier?
Well, it happened basically the way I told you earlier. That's how I got started. And what really inspired me was the fact that I've been a Braille reader all my life. And Braille is not as accessible as a lot of us would like to see it. It's not available in many places. And I wanted to be that person to make Braille as available and as accessible as possible. That's what motivated me to get started. As far as people who mentored me, well, I worked with the BESB counselors. I worked with Cheryl Stott. In the past, I have worked with Jonathan Richmond and now John Farrington. And all three of them encouraged me. And basically, they've all more or less left me alone because they know I can do the work and do it well. I'm also thankful that when one of my Braille embossers died, I thought, now what am I going to do? Here comes a loaner down from BESB. Michelle Laramie brought me a loaner identical to the embosser that I happen to have.
Oh, that's great.
And I thought, how wonderful. And so I've had a lot of mentors over the years, and I know I didn't mention everybody from BESB who have encouraged me to keep on going, but that motivates me. When people like what I do, and when people encourage me to do my Braille work, that motivates me to keep working, and I enjoy my work. It's not something I don't enjoy doing, because I do. I look forward to the work that I have to do, and every project is a challenge because they're all different. And I really enjoy doing the different projects.
That's interesting. Even though you're doing the same task every day, the content is different, so it must make it exciting.
The content and the format and the way it's going to have to look, yes, it does make it exciting.
So, what kind of challenges did you face when you were being educated, if any?
I attended the Oak Hill School for the Blind, which at the time was a school. Of course, it has changed, and it's all the blind children in Connecticut now are basically mainstreamed into the public school system. But at the time, it was a residential school, and I attended that school. And like every other child in the world, we rebelled against structure. When the house mother said, "No, you're not going to do that," or when we tried to be sneaky and do things like put the Braille book under the covers at night and read after the lights out, we didn't care. We could read the Braille book.
That's funny.
The house mothers would come in, pull the covers down, and there's the Braille book laying there, and our fingers are, and most of the time we're 3/4 asleep, of course. But those were the little pranks that we played when I was at school. When I first started the school, I think one of the biggest challenges for me was to be away from home, because I was only 5 years old.
And you lived there?
And I lived there 5 days a week, and I went home on weekends. Being away from home was a big challenge. Of course, as I grew older, I got used to it. I made friends, and to this day, most of the people I went to school with were still all friends. Some are scattered around the country, some are local, but we're all still friends. We were like family. I experienced pretty much the same challenges that every other person, every other student does as we grow up through the school system and the elementary school and the high schools. And I learned a lot through life's challenges and through just getting older and raising a child, and I've just learned a lot over the years. And of course, Braille has always been my first love, and I've always wanted a way to get Braille fully accessible to me, and having a small part in it now, it makes me feel good.
What would you tell someone watching this video that's parent of a child who's blind?
There are a lot of challenges that these blind children face as mainstreamed. I would tell the parent, even if a child has enough vision to read large print, I would encourage the parent to have the child learn Braille, because you never know whether a child is going to lose the sight as an adult. Hopefully they won't, but they should have, everyone who is visually impaired, who's legally blind, in my opinion, should have a knowledge of Braille. I would also tell the parent, make sure that the children or child is getting all the material, all the study material that they need, so that they can do well in school. Now, I do know that BESB provides itinerant teachers for the children, which is a very good thing. When I grew up, we had all of our books read to us. We had readers that came into the school in the evening and read to us. Fortunately, today's technology, that's past. And basically what I would offer a parent is to be right on top of what their children are doing in school, making sure that they have everything that is possible, everything possible accessible to them, so that they can do their work appropriately. The other thing that some parents find is that blind children have a problem interacting with their sighted peers. Not, when I say that is the sighted children don't understand, hey, this blind child is just like we are. Only thing is, this child cannot see. So that parent should be sure that the children have friends and get them into activities, but don't isolate them from other blind children. I've known of blind children who have been totally isolated from other blind children, and that's not good either. They need to interact with other blind children as well as their sighted peers.
Right. What advice would you give to someone that is interested in starting a business like yours?
Anybody's going to tell that person, you need to write a business plan. I never did it. I didn't have to do it. It just kind of dumped in my lap, you might say. But I would say do some homework. Maybe do some Braille for someone you know. Just add, and this is what I did. Do some Braille for somebody you know that is in need of something in Braille. And find out if you like what you do, and find out if it's well received. And if it is, then expand from there, just like I did. The unfortunate thing is the equipment that has to be purchased is very costly. I was fortunate and I received a lot of it from BESB. And I recently received a grant for an updated note taker, which is the most wonderful thing in the world because it is actually more than a note taker. It's actually a mini laptop. And it has made my work so much easier. So experiment with the technology, learn to use it, and just get a feel for what you want to do, and before you actually open the business, do a few things as a volunteer and see how it goes. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, thank you, Anne, for that. That was wonderful.
Anne continues to provide brailing services through her business All Braille and is an active member within the blind community. We are grateful for the opportunity to share with others Anne's experiences and insights.